afternoon, Simone. Good afternoon, Darren. It's a pleasure today to come out to Lara. I entertained Simone and your fantastic daughter, Darcy, who's currently sitting out of picture, but later on we'll be talking about her budding career on the trots with her famous pony, Bobby. But this is my debut as a betting people interviewer, so please go gentle on me. But thank you very, very much for your time. And we like to start betting people with the most serious questions. We like to get right to the heart of the matter. Now, we've come all the way to Australia and we want facts. Is Mick Dundee a real person, and do you know him?
Absolutely. He lives not far from here. We've got some hills called the Yuyangs, which are about a 10-minute drive. Drop bears, kangaroos, snakes, spiders, anything that will kill you is at the Yuyangs, and Mick's there to keep all of that under control.
Darren, do you know Mick? Do you clash a bit with him both being alpha males? Who would win a fight out of you, Mick? Possibly. So not definitely. Right, let's kick off. Who's the boss?
Depends who's home at the time.
Depends what they're talking about. I don't know. I don't think there's actually a boss, but we have different roles that we sort of do. And if you come into my zone, I'm the boss.
Right, okay. And when are you the boss?
I'm not the boss.
No.
I just go with the flow. Do what's got to be done, and that's it.
Good husband. Now, I always think that there are rules of thumb in life, but every situation, every person, and every relationship is individual. And I think that that everybody has a story in them, but relationships are absolutely fascinating. Please tell us, how did you meet?
Are you going to say, or am I?
No, you can.
Oh, just being around the greyhounds, basically, at the tracks, that type of thing. Everyone's got a backstory, haven't they? But let's just start from, say, a bit over 20 years ago, and I moved down to Warrnambool. I'd already been involved with greyhounds, and yeah, we basically started from scratch together. So it's been a bit of a hard slog at times. But now I've moved back to Lara 13 years ago, where I grew up. This is my happy stomping ground. And yeah, it's just a lot of hard work. It's just a lifestyle. Every day you get up, there's dogs out there. So it can be very rewarding, but it can be a bit of a drag at times too.
Darren, was it love at first sight, or did you have to break her down?
Oh.
Be honest.
Or fight off the other.
Mick Dundee.
Yeah, I had the others. Spared it. She used to love me way back then.
Now, when you work together and the work is so intense and it's 7 days a week, and it's, when you're awake, you're working, it's, as you say, it's a way of life. Does that make the love stronger, or does it test the relationship at times where you possibly don't have enough space and individual activity?
It tests you at times. Just the last 12 months, we've employed someone else to work for us and help us out, so we get a bit of time away each now, and a time away from each other and everything else, which has probably made it a lot easier than what it was.
Yeah, it's definitely a test, because you don't go to work and come home and leave what happened at the office or at work. You're always here. You're always around one another. So if you've had an argument in the kennel, you come inside, you may have stopped arguing, but it's not like you can just leave one job and walk home, and it's different.
Yes.
It can be definitely a test.
And that sort of leads into the question of, do you train all of the greyhounds together, or do you both take responsibility for different dogs? And after a race, the post-mortems, are they rational, or are you so competitive that they can bubble over?
No, I never really get stressed after a race. Like all the work's done with the dogs before they go and race. Like, it depends on in racing and stuff like that. It's just one of those things. They get beaten. You know, you take it with a grain of salt at times. Just it doesn't. I don't really get that upset about getting beaten and stuff like that. It's just the way it is.
And we have, like, all our dogs are in the kennel together, so we just get in there and do it. We don't have individual kennels. They're in individual names, but that's just to help with getting them in different fields and for a number of reasons. But they're all done the same. Whether I go out there and do them by myself or Darren does, they're all done the same, regardless of whose name they're in.
What was your slippery slope into the sport?
Oh, 1979, me and a guy that I played footy with bought 2 pups, and they turned out very good pups. And
How old are you? I was born in 79.
I'm 60.
You're 60?
Really?
Lot.
60 in about 3 weeks' time.
I look about 5 years older than you.
So, yeah, 79, we bought 2 pups, and they turned out all right. We just kept buying pups.
You trained?
No, we had someone else train them for us at the time, and then where I was working, they offered redundancies to get out. Brought me in down at Warrnambool, about 2.5 hours from here. Built a property there, went out full-time training, then moved back to here. So probably been training maybe 30 years.
Really? And when was you on that way back moment?
Well, as I spoke about earlier, this is my happy stomping ground. So I used to keep my horses just a couple of doors down from here.
Oh, really?
And master trainer Alan Britton used to live across the road on this street. And he's a Hall of Fame inductee, and everyone knows Alan Britton. He was one of the great trainers, and very much so from a welfare perspective. So I used to walk the greyhounds. I got to know Alan because of the horses. I was up here all the time with the horses, and got to know Alan Britton. And he used to walk up the ends where Mick Dundee's doesn't live far from. And we would walk the dogs up there 3 to 4 mornings a week, and that was it. And it was
So you fell in love with the dogs, not so much the racing.
That's right. And it was I remember it clearly. It was a greyhound called Singalong who ran second in the Melbourne Cup, and she was a really good bitch, racing and brood bitch as well. And I remember the very first time I met Singalong, she jumped up at Alan's on the fence, and I gave her a pat, and I said to him, I thought they were vicious. And he said, oh, no. He said, they're not vicious. She was the friendliest thing. Her name was Socks, her kennel name. So that was my first introduction. And I just loved being around the dogs and walking them and going to the races. And that's how I got involved.
And which dog evokes, whether it be the most successful greyhound you've trained, or the one that stays most in your heart with the most meaning for you in your training career?
Do you want me to go first? Well, the dog close to my heart is standing to my left, which is your right, Ben. Ben, as you know, he's been
We'll do a cutaway to him later.
well and truly stuffed.
Yeah.
But he was the very first dog that I ever bred, and his name is Lewis, and he was to be inspired by Carl Lewis, the fantastic runner.
Oh, wow.
British runner.
And he's American.
Was he American?
Yes, Carl Lewis.
Just deflated
Sorry.
there. So Carl Lewis, and his race name was Smart Remark. So
What one pet name?
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis. So he was my heart dog, and I just wanted to have him around forever, which he will be.
Darren?
I don't really have many favourites. They all get treated the same, whether they're good or bad or otherwise. You have your odd favourites, but they all get treated the same. So
You love the dogs?
yeah.
Yes. Whether it be a grade or top race.
Yeah, that's it. You just enjoy doing them and enjoy racing.
I think sometimes the ones with personality stand out in the kennel as well. We've got one at the moment called Alfie Alligator.
Let's meet him later.
We will, and he's just about to tick over $100,000 in stakes. But he's up near 100 starts too. But he's just got personality. He's a fawn dog. He's in your face. He's a bit naughty.
I love it.
Yeah. He gets away with it. But so some are really, and then you get really quiet ones that are lovely as well. So there's lots of nice ones that come along.
Now, you have such heart and soul for the sport, and that has shone through and pushed you forward into the media. How important is your role really as an ambassador in Australia for our sporting community?
I suppose that depends who you ask, really. But
Don't be modest.
I'd like to say, like I was the first female presenter on Sky Racing, first female greyhound presenter. There was a couple of Gallops girls, and that's given me a lot of opportunities. Met some great people like yourself as well. I really only do a little bit of MC work these days, and I do RSN radio every Monday. It's probably not how I would like it to be. I would still like to be involved a lot more with racing media, but unfortunately I'm not the one who decides that.
And what is the reach of your audience, and how are you able to bring more people into the greyhound racing family and the sport?
It's a really good question, because I think we're all struggling with that answer. We're all trying to put forward a good image, which I feel that I've always done my job with integrity. I've always presented myself well. I don't even like going down. I won't go down the shop in a pair of tracksuit pants. Not that anyone really knows who I am, but I just think look, I'm an ambassador for rehoming as well. I rehome a lot of our greyhounds. I keep in touch with people. So all I can do is get my message out there and hope that it connects with people. And I know that it does. As far as presenting in racing, I think you do need to try and just present with a good image and present that it's coming from a place where people can resonate with, and that's from the heart, basically. They know I'm getting out there and I'm talking because it's something that I am passionate about. I'm not just a mouthpiece for it. So I think that is a big part of it.
And how much do you find that the antis get in your way here in terms of promoting the sport to newbies?
They're definitely a problem. They're a problem everywhere. And I think we need to change our perspective on how we deal with the antis, because it's not working what's happening now. It's just you said, they said. Getting the facts out is, I think, something we need to do, and also start a conversation with them, because I don't think we need to be on the same, we're never going to be on the same page, and we have to accept that. But if we can try and put as a force forward, presenting the correct information, and there's a really, really good group at the moment called Kick Up for Racing in the thoroughbreds, and they are putting facts out there and saturating social media with facts.
Antis don't like facts.
No. So I think if we can sit down and have the conversation with them and say, listen, we understand you don't like racing, and we accept you don't like racing, whether or not it's reasons that we think are valid or not. But please don't go spreading misinformation, because we're basically doing the best we can. Our welfare standards are increasing, always improving, but we're always going to butt heads. But it's how can we both have that path of least resistance?
Darren, you spoke earlier, you said that you've trained dogs for 30 years. You treat every single dog the same, with the same love and care. As a man who loves greyhounds, are you satisfied with the rehoming process in Australia?
Oh, look, as I say, I don't deal with the rehoming side of things through Greyhound Racing Victoria, because you just don't get, I don't know, you just don't seem to get the help and assistance from them. We'd rather rehome our own dogs, and then Simone does most of the work with them, getting them used to the animals and that around the place. And we always scrutinise the people they go to, stay in touch with them, and we say to them, you know, if the dog doesn't suit, we'll take it back. And I think over the years we've only had one come back to us, and then we've rehomed it the next week, and it's been no problem, you know. So we'd rather do it ourselves, scrutinise the people that they go to, and they stay in touch. They send photos and this and that for the dogs, and we know where they are. And we know where the dogs are.
What is done in Australia to promote wonderful pets? We know greyhounds. You see, so sadly, I mean, obviously they need to be muzzled, but when people see a greyhound racing, it's wearing a muzzle, they think, oh, it bites. Whereas, of course, you know, with us who have pets as greyhounds, they are total the laziest creatures on the planet, and you know, sort of quarter of an hour run in the garden, that's them done for the day. But what is done to promote to the public what great pets they are?
I think the greyhounds themselves are the best advertisements, and we can go down to school drop off here. And even in Melbourne, I'm sure you will see there are greyhounds everywhere on the lead. And they are the best advertisements for themselves. And fortunately in Australia, once they've had their vet work done, they've been to sex and they've been rehomed, they don't have to wear a muzzle. So that's been a massive part of changing the image of greyhounds here, and it's made it easier to rehome them. So I don't think, once upon a time people used to say, oh, I thought they were so aggressive, but now that's not the conversation anymore. It's
They are the most unaggressive of
they
all
are.
dogs.
They're very yeah. So yeah, the image has definitely changed in Australia. That's been one of the most positive aspects of rehoming and the greyhound adoption program. Two of my very closest friends actually started that off over 25 years ago at the Sandown Vet Clinic. And that was Mel's number one desire, to change the image. And that's been achieved. And I mean, it's still got a little bit to go, but primarily that's been achieved.
I heard that during COVID there was an extra push and people were homing greyhounds.
It was huge. Unfortunately now it's all dropped off a little bit with every aspect of rehoming cats, dogs, horses, everything, because there's been that sort of COVID hangover now. People are back to the lives that they had pre-COVID. So unfortunately something has to give in some situations, and that's sometimes the animals. So there has been a real, it's slowed down considerably, but people still want animals as pets. So we've just got to keep pushing that a greyhound may be the ideal one.
That's it. I think that it's so important, as you said, to find the right dog for the right home, because they do have personalities. But a greyhound's personality takes time to come out, don't you think?
Yeah, sometimes it's
When they've been in training.
yeah. Oh, look, sometimes they do, and a lot of them just depends where they've been, how they've been.
How many dogs have you got? 14. Oh, right, I see.
So you know they'll get treated the same, and it's, if they're treated well here, it doesn't take them long to acclimatise to where they go to. Yes. Just depends what sort of life they've had. It's like any industry, any business, and that you'll get bad people in any industry, any business.
Let me challenge you with a question, though. It's very noble why you've said that each dog is treated the same, with the same level of care and love. But when you speak to them, you listen to trainers, they say that they have to get inside the head of each dog, how to get the best from that dog when you're going through a competition, what have you. How do you get to know a dog and the best way to do it?
Well, a lot of people said, like, when you're at the greyhounds and you've got to get someone to get a dog out for you for the next race, you know, to prepare the dog because you're in the race before. When I walk into the kennel, the dogs, they start wagging their tail when they see you coming. So you know then that the dogs are very happy where they're situated with the people they're with and that sort of stuff. So I don't know about getting into their heads, but if you treat people properly, you know, they always treat you well. It's the same with animals. If you look after them, they're going to be happy with you, you know.
But you've got to be careful, you're dropping the tough guy image.
I think that when you're working with them every day, and even when you get a new dog in the kennel, it doesn't sort of take long to work out, because they're very comfortable in a racing environment. Most greyhounds, it's when they're taken out of that environment that you may have challenges. But we find the transition of our dogs is usually fairly seamless into a home. I don't know why. Maybe it's
I
just
think I know why, because you treat them with such care.
potentially, but I just know you know their personalities when you're with them every day.
Now, Australia is the other side of the world, but in England, when we hear about greyhound racing in Australia, we think it's another world. Recently, we read, as if it was, fact is stranger than fiction, that there was $1 million race, $1 million prize to the winner race, and every other race on the card had 100 grand to the winner. Now, when one of your dogs is out on a night like that, what are the nerves like at home in the lead up to that? And do you think that the dog can ever sense the nerves of the fight night, the big night?
We've never had a dog in a $1 million race.
No, but not the
We've
minute.
had-
But yeah.
But we haven't had dogs in huge races like that.
No, we've had dogs in cups and that, but we just work them the same. We treat them the same. Nothing changes for the week. I remember when we won, it was 2002, we won the Warner Classic. It was worth 50,000. And there was a guy come there on the Sunday night, and I had the dog. He was out galloping the paddock with the other one. He said, "What's that dog?" I told him, I said 3, and he said, "Isn't it racing Wednesday for 50,000?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, what if it hurts itself?" I said, "Why change nothing? You just keep going the same way. You do the same routine, and you don't change anything." Too many people change things. They get nervous, and it messes up everything. So we just make sure the dogs are sound before the race. We go through, we get them checked, check them ourselves. We don't change it. Don't change anything.
What do you change though when a particularly good greyhound loses its form?
Well, then
How
you
do you
go.
mix things up?
Oh, well, then you go. We just had one win on Tuesday. He broke in well. He'd had 4 starts, and he just completely lost the plot. So I freshened him up. Didn't take him near a racetrack for a month. Worked him at home here. Put him in at Bendigo on Tuesday, and he won by 4 or 5 weeks. When his first race, his 5th race now. But he was just a dog that had lost the plot. I had another 3 that raced there on Tuesday.
What did you do though to change the dog's mindset?
Oh, I just kept him at home. I didn't take him near a track. I took him away from everything. Just worked him home in the workyards here, bought the machine, and just changed everything up from what we were doing. Instead of trialing and that, and just freshened him right up, put him in. So you just got to, if you have a dog with form, you just go back. I always go back, look at their weights when they were winning, look at this, look at that, and try and work out where they've lost their form. Sometimes they just need a freshen up.